Okay, you're probably going, is this like an Oxema commercial or what?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 times soundtracks unexpectedly slapped.
Claire de Lune is great.
For this list, we'll be looking at soundtracks not just for the songs themselves, but for the way the songs are used in the movie. To be clear, we're not including musicals or film scores, strictly soundtracks. Did we miss your favourite movie soundtrack? Sound off in the comments. Number 10. Lady Bird. We're pretty adamant that this list is about soundtracks and not scores, but if we made a list about movie scores, this one would likely make the cut.
Let the Lord be with you. And also with you. Welcome all of you back.
It's just an amazing score, but we're here to tell you that the soundtrack is just as awesome, if not more so.
Everybody says don't, everybody says don't, everybody says don't, it isn't right. Don't, it isn't nice. Everybody says don't, everybody says don't, everybody says don't walk on the grass.
With there being a musical inside the movie, the soundtrack is loaded up with several songs by the legendary Stephen Sondheim. And if that isn't epic enough, you've got a very eclectic combination of sound courtesy of Alanis Morissette, Real Big Fish, the Dave Matthews Band, and more. Number 9. Twilight. Whether you loved this movie or hated it, there is no denying that its soundtrack is pretty killer. It even won Favourite Soundtrack at the American Music Awards in 2009. Well, with bands like Paramore, Linkin Park, and Muse, it's no surprise.
But you won't take away my pride. No, not this time.
Talk about genius soundtracks. This movie picked songs that not only suited the overall tone of the film, but were also by bands that were super popular at the time.
You know, everybody's staring.
Not that guy. No, he just looked.
And fun fact, the iron and wine cut used in the movie was chosen by Kristen Stewart, Bella Swan herself. Number 8. Black Panther. Pretty much everything about this movie is beyond epic, so we expected nothing less from the soundtrack. Director Ryan Coogler asked artist Kendrick Lamar to produce a few songs for the movie, but Lamar one-upped that request by writing a full album. Lamar also collaborated with the film's score composer, Ludwig Göransson, who had actually travelled to Africa and recorded music to use in his compositions. According to Lamar, he had created a soundtrack that worked on its own rather than simply as an extension of the movie. We have to agree. Upon release, the soundtrack was adored by both critics and audiences. The song King's Dead even won a Grammy.
I bought an 87 for the weekend. This ain't what you want, this ain't what you want.
Number 7. 10 Things I Hate About You. You got classics like Joan Jett's Bad Reputation, Salt and Pepper's Push It, 1 Week by the Bare Naked Ladies, and of course Hypnotized by Biggie himself. With these bolstering the already awesome narrative, it's no wonder this movie has earned cult classic status. That scene where Patrick sings "Can't Take My Eyes Off You" to Kat in front of the whole school is nothing short of legendary.
I love you, baby, and if it's quite alright, I need you, baby, to on the lonely night. I love you, baby.
And don't forget the cover of Cheap Trick's "I Want You to Want Me" by Letters to Cleo. It's the perfect ending to an already stellar movie. Number 6. Romeo and Juliet.
To turn your household rancor to pure love.
Although all the dialogue is still in Shakespearean pentameter, Baz Luhrmann took many liberties to modernise one of the most famous tragedies of all time. The characters have guns and cars and so forth, but one of the most important of those liberties is the use of music. The music used to tell the story is out of time with the setting of the movie. Bands like Garbage and Radiohead definitely didn't exist back in Shakespeare's time, but they definitely enhance this version of the groundbreaking love story. Number 5. Shrek. Whenever people think of Shrek, they still think about that Smash Mouth song All Star from the opening sequence, or hearing the song reminds them of Shrek.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
The two things are practically synonymous. The song is perfect for Shrek's introduction. And what about that awesome WWE style fight scene to Joan Jett's Bad Reputation? Nothing short of iconic. And we can't forget Hallelujah. It is simultaneously sad and uplifting during the montage showing our heroes separated. Every song in this movie is not only good on its own, but serves a specific purpose in the storytelling. You can't ask for anything more from a soundtrack. And by the way, the sequel soundtrack totally holds up.
Alright, big fella, let's crash this party.
Number 4. Holes. We could probably just throw out Dig It, written and performed by the D-Tent Boys themselves, and drop the mic and walk away right there.
Got my shovel, shoes full of sand. Check out the tag, the name's Caveman.
But every single song in this movie not only perfectly accents the scenes they are in, but in fact enhances them. Dig It was born of the actors just goofing around on the bus on the way to set, and became an anthem for the movie. How cool is that? That montage showing Kissin' Kate Barlow's descent from school teacher to bank robber is incredibly accompanied by TK. And you remember the If Only song from the book?
If only the woodpecker's
Please don't
size
sing
of
that
the
song.
bark on the tree was as soft
Please
as
don't
the
sing that
sky.
song. Not at my table.
Also accounted for on the soundtrack. Incredible. Number 3. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. The music in this movie is practically a character of its own. The soundtrack isn't background music designed to direct the viewing audience to feel a certain way. It is the soundtrack to the characters' lives.
Deep in the cell of my heart, I will feel so glad to go.
The music unites all of our heroes. Speaking of heroes, the song of the same name by David Bowie is emblematic of Sam, Patrick and Charlie's feelings of infinity when they fly through the tunnel in one of the film's most memorable scenes.
Oh, we can be heroes just for one day.
The dance sequence where they all move to Come On Eileen by Dexy's Midnight Runners is so much fun and brilliantly edited to show not only Sam and Patrick's carefree nature, but also Charlie's shyness. And of course, we can't forget the epic Rocky Horror scene.
Give yourself over to absolute pleasure. Swim the warm waters of sin of the flesh.
Number 2. Tarzan.
Only love can enjoy a simple life. They live in peace.
Although the songs are all original and specifically written for this movie, unlike many similar Disney movies, the characters only sometimes sing the songs in lieu of their dialogue. So this is technically not a musical. Phil Collins is an award-winning music legend, so you'd expect these songs to be good. But wow, did he put his all into it. He even won a Grammy for this soundtrack, with songs like Strangers Like Me and You'll Be in My Heart. It's no surprise he won.
Yes, you'll be in my heart.
From this day on, now and forevermore.
There's a joke among fans of this movie that goes that Phil Collins didn't need to go as hard as he did on this soundtrack, but we're glad he did. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honourable mentions. Cheaper by the dozen too. There's something in here for the whole family.
Hey, what if we sing a camp song, huh?
Okay, sounds good.
There once was a man named Michael Finnegan. He had some whiskers on his chin again. The wind blew them off and they blew in again. Poor old Michael Finnegan began again.
Clueless. Classic 90s tunes for a classic 90s movie. Guardians of the Galaxy. They call it the awesome mix for a reason. Licorice Pizza. The pizza may be an acquired taste, but not the soundtrack. Begin Again, from the guy who gave us Once.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The One. It's rare to find such a hardcore soundtrack for any movie. Most tend to use more universally liked genres and styles, or recent pop hits to appeal to larger audiences. But every single song on this soundtrack seems to have been chosen specifically to enhance the scene that it is a part of. When Down with the Sickness kicks in, it's not just some new song added in arbitrarily. It is woven into the scene to enhance its intensity. It's not just that the songs themselves are great songs, it's the way they are used in the movie that makes this soundtrack so excellent. It is criminal that no CD was ever released.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.